Hi, I'm Lawrence Hewitt. I'm an executive coach with Torchwood Coaching. I want to talk today about time management. In my coaching practice, I cannot tell you how many times a client will say, "Yeah, I really need to work on time management." Well, I've got some bad news for you. Time management is a myth. You cannot manage time unless you're the doctor from Doctor Who. And the reason for that is time is a constant, right? There are 24 hours in a day, and that's all there is to it. You cannot manage that. Um, what you can manage, however, is how you spend that time. So what that comes down to is prioritization. What are your priorities? So rather than thinking about okay, here's my day, for example, how am I going to spend my day? What am I going to do at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock? Don't think of it in terms of time any longer. Instead, think of it in terms of priorities. Have a be more agile, and to borrow an agile term, have a backlog of things you need to get done. That backlog should be prioritized. So in other words, you have your most important things at the top of your backlog, and the priority of those things become less as it goes down. Okay. Now, how do we get to the point where we're ready to create a backlog? Don't just now sit down and start creating your to-do list, because that's just a recipe for ineffectuality. That's it. That's the word, ineffectuality. Instead, we need to prioritize at a macro level, at a micro level, and then even at a nano level. Some of you have heard about micro goals. Well, we're going to get down to the nano level of goals. So let's start at the macro level. What are your goals for the next year? What are your annual goals? Now, there are several different ways to define your goals. I'm not going to get into that today in this session. There are OKRs, which I highly recommend, but there are many other frameworks. But what are your goals for the year? Start there. What are your big picture goals for the year? Don't go out 5 years or even 3 years. We're just talking about this year. Again, we can talk about vision and mission and long-term goals in another session. This is your goals for the year. Okay, now you have your goals for the year. What are your goals each quarter? So for each 3-month period, each quarter, what are your goals? We're talking about at the macro level now. Okay, now we've got your quarterly goals. So you're taking your annual goals, you're breaking them up into your quarterly goals. Now, how do your quarterly goals break down into your monthly goals? So for each month of this quarter, what are your goals? Great. Now we're getting a little bit more micro. We're going from the macro to the micro. Now, for your monthly goals, think about each week of that month. What are your goals for the week? Or another way to think of it is, what are the outcomes I want to achieve this week, for example? By the end of this week, what is that one, maybe two outcomes that I want to achieve? Now, when we're talking about outcomes, we're not talking about actions, right? An outcome is an end state. You've created something. You have changed the state of something from A to B. It's not about the doing, it's about the end state of something. Now you need to do in order to get to the end state. But think in terms of outcomes. What is it you need to have achieved by the end of the week? Now, great. Now we're at the micro level. These are your micro goals. Now we're going to start getting nano. For each day, what is it that you need to achieve in order to get to that outcome by the end of the week? What is it you need to achieve today? Now, to get to what we need to achieve today, we're going to start getting to the nano level. What is it that in for the next hour or maybe 2 hours, what is it I need to achieve in order to get to what I need to achieve today? A technique that I would greatly suggest is the Pomodoro technique. Now, how does this work? First of all, you should be blocking off time each day on your calendar, maybe an hour if you can afford it, 2 hours. And then to ensure that you're using that time most effectively, you use the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is a technique where you decide on what it is you want to achieve, what it is you need to work on, and then you set a timer. You set that timer for 25 minutes. During that 25-minute period, you do nothing else but work on that task. You don't look at email. You don't look at direct messages. You don't talk to someone if they come to your office. If someone comes to your office, you say, "Excuse me, I'll talk to you in 10 minutes," whatever is left on your clock, right? Once the timer is done, that 25-minute timer is done, then you take a 5-minute break, set a timer for the 5. You can do whatever you want in the 5 minutes. When that is up, you do another 25-minute iteration of what it is you're working on. 25 is up, another 5. You do that 3 times, the cycle of 3, if you can afford it. If you've got 2 hours, if you've got 1 hour, then do a cycle of 2. Now that's the nano version of working toward your goals. That's by the end of your week, by the end of your month, by the end of your quarter, your year, you're going to be much more on track than had you not ruthlessly prioritized at the macro level, the micro level, the nano level. And that's your 5-minute-ish coaching session. We've gone way over today. Please reach out to me. You can see what I do at torchwoodcoaching.com or at leadershipinplay.com, which is my leadership development company where we deliver leadership lessons through gameplay. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.